Hello, welcome to Authentic Hustle number 28. Man, guys, that means like 28 weeks of the hustle. That's over half a year now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Wow. Let me just start out by saying, like, what a week. It's been an absolutely crazy week in the Kennedy household, guys. Thank you so much for stepping up and replacing, my space last week. Obviously was very busy at this exact moment, to be honest. Our son was born 50 minutes from right now. So last week I was insanely busy at this point, and you guys had an absolutely amazing hustle for 27. Colin just grilled the crap out of VJ. I really enjoyed listening to that. I really enjoyed listening to that last week and was thinking, I sure hope Colin doesn't grill me this week. But you guys did an incredible job. Thank you so much for stepping in. Colin, you stepped in as well at the Catalyst Club, and I appreciate you greatly. You're my brothers from other mothers, and I love you so much. Thank you so much for doing that. And I'm excited to just be back. I'm excited to be back at the hustle. I look forward to this every single week. Love these conversations. Never know what's coming, and that's maybe the best part about it. But honestly, having you two as co-hosts for this journey, there's no way I could have got better co-hosts for this. So, thank you so much for sharing this journey with me and being part of our hustle group and just, inspiring and educating the next generation and entrepreneurs around the world. So thank you.
Yeah, it's been great. I can't believe half a year.
Bye.
I'm not sure how that happens. And how we hit that number, but I do remember saying if we hit 10, we'll discuss if we should keep going or not.
That's right.
And here we are. We're still rolling.
Well, and the cool thing about the hustle too is that it's just such an evolving thing, right? We sit down at least once a month and we say, what's next? Like, what are we doing here on the hustle? Right. What's the plan? What can we update? Right. What can we make better? What can we change? And so every single month, this show gets better. We find new avenues. And, we've started finally getting people reaching out. If you're hearing this show today, drop us a comment, shoot us a message. It's so cool to hear the people who actually watch the hustle.
Yeah.
We don't hear you or see you otherwise. So please do, engage in these conversations. If you have a comment, drop it. If you want to start a conversation, do so. These are live on LinkedIn for a reason, guys. We want to have a chat with you. We want to get to know you. We want to know what you think. So please, if you're listening to this right now, come on, drop us some messages on LinkedIn, leave us some comments, let us know you're listening, and we will continue to show up for you week over week over week. VJ, please.
I just want to give a shout out to you, Kelly. I mean, 28 episodes, and especially the last week, show after show. And if you're hearing it on YouTube with great quality, it's Kelly's been producing it with extraordinary plugins and whatnot. He knows a lot about it. Every show is produced for excellent audio and whatnot. So that's all Kelly there. So man, thank you. And especially the last week, I'm sure it's been a tough week and you still got it out. So thank you so much. Without that, the show is not growing. So I cannot thank you both for being a wonderful co-host. So I want to give that shout out, man. It's before we spin the wheel.
All right.
Well, no, it's been incredible. It continues to be incredible. Thank you to you both. And thank you to all of our listeners of The Hustle. We will continue to do this. VJ, spin that wheel, brother. What do we got today?
Yeah, if you guys remember, we have a wheel that we spin from time to time. So let's spin it. All right, 3 topics today. Are you creating legacy or just noise? Okay, that's entrepreneurship and mindset. Mm-hmm. The second topic is dynamic pricing strategies using machine learning. It's a business strategy into the tech area. And the third one is how do you know if you're ready to start a podcast?
Oh, wow. Okay. Those are 3 really good ones this week. We don't normally get 3 winners.
No, we don't.
Whose turn is it?
Yours.
It's my turn.
Because you weren't here last week.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My goodness. Okay. So I feel like they're all good. You know what? We got 3 people in this room who I think are creating pretty good legacies. So why don't we do that one this week? I feel like the podcasting one is nice, but I feel like it's too easy. It's too on the nose. I think we need to try something a little more challenging. Why don't we take on, are you creating legacy or just noise?
There we go.
Let's do it.
Are you creating legacy or just noise? Entrepreneurship, mindset, authentic growth question. Okay.
What does legacy mean to each of you? I think that's maybe what I want to start. Colin, start with you. What does legacy mean to you?
Yeah, interesting. I had a lunch meeting yesterday, and majority of it was about legacy. That's kind of weird. Maybe it's that algorithm that Google does and knows what we're thinking or what we were talking about, and that's where our questions actually come from. So as I was talking to this guy, legacy is future focused, right? A lot of times we plan and we're doing all these things, but creating a legacy is actually creating the future and deciding what we want that to look like, or, what we're going to leave behind and what that looks like. So for me, like creating a legacy, whether that's in work life or in home life, that's a tricky one. Like you really have to dial into it to know what you're creating, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like for me, my legacy, what I want to leave behind will be totally different than somebody else's, but I've seen a few foundations that they call them legacy foundations, anything like that. So what I want to leave behind is even better life, for my family and for their families, as time goes on. In my business, I want to create a legacy that continues on. Like we purchased a business that was quite phenomenal. Just, we wanted to put our touch on it. And when we leave it, what's that legacy? What's that we leave behind for somebody else to pick up? Should be even better than when we found it.
Yeah.
So,
VJ.
Yeah, no, I like this quote in terms of like not having expectations, and I think it kind of aligns to building legacy. I mean, I want to say this quote out loud. This quote goes by like this: the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. Right. So I'll read it again. The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. That is because legacy is something what you're leaving behind and what you're building. And yeah, you cannot have only so much expectation, but like building it without expectation. I mean, like, we are so bullish on either the future, but we're not as bullish at the moment, right? So, I mean, the moment is all we got actually. But those are thoughts that comes to my mind. Like, I don't know the answer in terms of legacy, but just being curious and then serving to the moment is what I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I'm not sure that I thought a lot about legacy until recently. I'd say maybe the last 2 or 3 years. But what I wanted to ultimately do was just make sure that whatever I did left a massive impact in the world, right? It really did start to become really important for me that I left a positive outcome in the world, that I made a difference, that, when I'm old and I look back, even at this time, that I can look back and say, yeah, I friggin' did something. I made a difference. I changed the business development landscape, or, I became a podcaster and influenced many, many people. I think that legacy is important, but we're actually doing it all the time and we never think about it. Legacy happens every day. You're building your legacy right now, VJ. Next week, you could go out and invent something absolutely incredible that changes the entire world, and boom, legacy built, right? You're building legacy in every single moment. And I think that's important for each one of us to remember, is that even those insignificant feeling actions right now, they lead you to tomorrow. That little step you do day over day over day becomes a mountain. That's the funny thing about it. And, we teach that in the Catalyst Club with our Move the Needle lists every single week. Move the Needle lists are legacy builders. They really are. They're little impactful things that you can do each week that, if you do them, moves that needle for you a little bit. But the cool thing, if you look at any epic hero journey, right? Let's use Lord of the Rings as an example. They march across, Middle Earth, and they drop that ring in the mountain. But it starts in the Shire. It starts with Frodo. Yeah, it starts with Frodo choosing to take on that journey and take that very first step. Every massive journey is one foot after another, one step after another. You don't just teleport and end up at the mountain, right? We have to walk up that mountain step by step by step. And all of those steps are building your legacy. And one day, it's funny because you'll end up at the top of that mountain and you'll be like, oh, did I really do that? It's kind of hard to believe sometimes when you can look back. Even if I look back at what we've done with the BDP, what we've done with the hustle, what we've done, with Catalyst Club so far, we've come a long way in a really short period of time. And it's funny because you look back and you're like, is that significant or insignificant? But of course, it's very significant, but it never feels quite like you made it. Like, and it's funny because it's a question that's come up for me many times on the business development podcast. I've asked many guests, like, do you feel like you made it? Like, your company is uber successful, you're rich, you have freedom. Like, did you make it? And almost all of them say, well, yes and no. Right? Like, yes, I've made it to where I am today. Yes, it's a long way past where I started, but have I made it? No. And I don't know. It's an interesting paradigm because I'm not sure that we ever feel like we're at the end of our journey.
Yeah, So is legacy, how do you correlate the two, legacy and reputation? Right? So your reputation, so I'll use like a guy like Jack Welch or somebody, that we've maybe a generation before, but did a lot of things, General Electric, all that type of thing.
Yeah.
His reputation was, what do you call that? Sigma 6 or whatever all those things are. That's his reputation, right? What's VJ's reputation when he's moved on or 20 years from now? I think our legacy is also our reputation.
Yes.
So what people will refer to you as, and why we need to be very conscious of what we do. Like you were saying, Kelly, of every day, what are we going to do today to move the needle? That's a great point. What you said there is that's our legacy, right? How we built our legacy, how we built our reputation. And a lot of times I use the phrase all the time, we get one opportunity to make what am I thinking of? First time you meet somebody, what's the word?
First impression.
Impression.
Yeah.
Right.
I lost the word, but we get one opportunity to make a first impression, which creates our reputation. You can create your reputation in one meeting, either good or bad. And VJ and I had that call yesterday with the Humblebee, I'll call him. There's a backstory to that. But he began to build, I guess, a so-called legacy with me, a reputation with, if I never meet him again or talk to him again or whatever that is a legacy. That is a so-called legacy or a reputation. And fortunately, in this situation, it was really good, but it doesn't always end up that way.
Yeah. I mean, One thing that comes to mind is like, let's say you're in your 80s or 90s, when you're in your deathbed or something around that. What is that one thing that would come to your mind? I was telling my wife like a few years ago, hey, I'm going to be 40. And if I don't do it now, I don't think I'm doing it ever. Right. So I've played it safe for a long time and I don't want to do it anymore. So I don't want to take the plunge, take the risk. Let it be hard. It is hard. So let it be hard. So the thing I think hit home every time for me is like, it's not about failing. So that's not the regret I have. I think the regret is like not trying. What if I didn't try? I don't want to have that regret.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, like I'm sure there'll be ups and downs. And I don't know, maybe we discuss that in a Catalyst Club session, Kelly. So we finish a mountain. I think it's probably Colin, you mentioned it. We finish a mountain, hike a mountain, there's a new mountain after that. There's a new mountain after that.
Yeah,
so I love that
100%.
analogy. So, keep climbing the mountain. So life will get better. Life will get better and it'll get interesting. You'll meet a lot of new, interesting people. The journey is different. And people say in terms of appreciate the journey and whatnot. Like, yes, you got to appreciate it. But at the same time, I think the underlying tone of the entire conversation that we are all having is about like definitely authenticity. And beyond that is courage. And if you don't have the courage to go further, and if you're playing it safe, you may have to regret at some point. So that's a regret I don't want to have.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing because it's really hard. Like, I've talked to a lot of people who say, when you get to the end of your life, you won't care about what you did at work, or like you won't think about work. And it's like, but really? Like, I don't know. I kind of think like if you do certain meaningful things with your work, you will think about it. I'm not sure that I believe that crap. I'm not sure that I believe that like at the end of your life, you don't look back at the work you did in the world or the impact you left in the world and all you think about is family. I love my family. I will think about them. But I want to leave a bigger impact than just my family.
Well, I think part of that, Kelly, though, lies in our why. What's our why?
Yeah.
Right? In our legacy. So the reason we're going there is to create something.
Yeah.
For our family and for the generations to come. Are we I don't think I'm a deep enough person to say I'm creating a legacy for 50 or 70 or 100 years down the road. Not at this point anyway. But I think like you do, people say I don't think I'm going to say I wish I went to work one more day. Well, you might, depending what you do and how your why is included in that. If my family, and I try to make it that now, is included what I do in my day-to-day happenings, then that is part of my legacy.
Yes.
Right? If your family resents you or it's caused you turmoil or hurt or pain because you were never there, they were never part of it. Like, let's just say you wake up in the morning and no slam on the corporate world, but you work in the corporate world, you hit an airplane and you return 7 or 13 or 15 days later for a day. You're a helicopter person, dad or husband or whatever, and you fly in and you fly out, then you might not say, I wished I got to work one more day.
Sure.
You might have regrets there, but I think even the term like Vijay used, regret, I think on that word quite a bit because people regret a lot of things and you hear it in their conversations. Waking up and creating a legacy without regret, I think is easier than we think. If we actually plan and focus and goal seek and benchmark and find out where we're at and how we're making it, I think there's a lot of fruit there to be had, and that's what I'm going after. Like, as far as a legacy goes, not regret. Regret to me doesn't have to go deep, because if you're actually looking at what you did right or wrong or could have done different, you're not going to have regrets. You're going to say, okay, I can just do this different. VJ, like we talked yesterday, shift on the fly, right? I can shift on the fly when I see I'm going the wrong way or I need to gear down or gear up, whatever it is. So I think we can remove regret easier than some think. For me anyway, I guess I shouldn't talk about anyone out there. I'll talk about myself. The only regrets I'm going to have is when I never shifted on the fly, right? Or I didn't recognize what was right in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other side too is you can't change the past, right? Like no matter what happened, no matter what happens, you can't change something that has already happened. The only thing you can change is the future. And I think there's opportunity in the idea that you can change the future, and there's pain if all you do is sit back and look at what you could have done, right? You got two choices, right? Are you going to take the blue sky way, or are you going to look back and feel regret and pain about things that you can't control? And, I think that's just the path to sadness and depression. Whereas if you just look at what you can control today, you either live in the present or you start looking towards the future. There's opportunity and hope in that. There's no opportunity and hope in the past.
No, that's right. I agree 100%. And this seems to be a common conversation that, I'm having, or maybe you guys are having, more and more so as time goes on. And the world is in turmoil, right? You don't have to go there, but it is, right? We're in modern day turmoil and there's a lot of stuff going on, and there always is. It's just, I think we're able to see it happen in real time more than we ever have before.
Yeah.
But that, I agree 100%. Like it's moving ahead, and that is part of blue sky, and that is part of let them or let me, move on. And I had a situation this week. I was talking with my wife, and at the end of it, I said, I can't harbor on something and I can't let it eat me up. I said, and maybe it's wrong. I said, I can forgive, but I won't forget what happened, because if I forget what happened, I'll let it happen to me again.
Yes.
And I'm the only one that can let something happen to me. And so, we were just walking the dog, and then we continued on, and just in conversation, and it was very good conversation. I just said, well, you can let it go too. Yeah. I said, we're still talking about it. Right. And I said, for me, yes, you have to talk things through. You have to work it out and figure out what's going to happen or not happen again. But what you can't do is continue to unravel it. Continue to go back and talk about the same thing. Continue to try to figure out what could have been different. Nothing could, it can't, like you said, Kelly, it can't change. So the only thing different is what happened an hour from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I want to talk about is in every person's life, I don't know, in a man's life, I don't know, maybe it's applicable to everyone, but in every person's life, there'll come a time, there'll be a fork in the road moment, and you will be tired of those the binge watching Netflixes. You'll be tired of eating ice cream. You'll be tired of eating those chicken nuggets and whatnot. At one point, there's a fork in the road. And I think that moment is very crucial. I'm sure everyone is experiencing that. And what you do at that moment actually kind of matters. What path are you taking? Are you choosing a life of purpose, or are you just playing it safe? I think that you have to answer that question, because under everyone, right? I think every living person, they have a fire within them in terms of like either you can build a lot of things with that fire, or it will burn yourself, right? So there are two choices you make. Pay attention to that fork in the road that you experience in your life. And a quote that I think I've shared it before, but I really like it, is remember the purpose of life is a life of purpose. I love that quote. So just want to share that.
I love that.
I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because, when we're talking about legacy, and I just want to maybe like run this by you guys a little bit and maybe pick it out. Do you guys think that legacy is built when you chase your passion and your purpose? Or when, like, I'm not sure that you can build like a true legacy chasing somebody else's passion. I genuinely think that like legacy building is so much about what impact are you going to have on the world, because that's what you are meant to do, right? Like, I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't talking about business development and podcasting and entrepreneurship. Like, I love that. Like, that is who Kelly is now. That's just so much a part of who I am. It's not just that I do it. I genuinely love it. And I genuinely love helping other people learn about it and teaching it. And so like, for me, it's become a legacy for me because it's who I am. And I wonder how much of that is, if you want to chase legacy, you have to figure out who you are and what your passions are.
That's really good. That conversation I had yesterday with Vijay and Vinesh, very, very interesting, very humble man, but doesn't give himself credit for the experience that he has and experiences that he's had. But that brings me to what you were saying, is that man is building a legacy that I don't think he understands how great it is and what he's done. And the difference was, Vijay, if you remember when we were chatting, I remember saying to him that he doesn't give himself enough credit for what he's doing. But the reason for that I could identify, I think quickly, and I think I was correct, was because he's not doing it for himself. He was doing it for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I said, the moment he begins, he's consulting now, but the moment he begins doing it, he's going to eat that fruit, right? I don't want to get too philosophical, but
it's true.
But it's so true, right? And it was identified real easy. And I think, it peeled a layer off his eyes as well as we were talking. It doesn't change it, because he had said, and for everybody listening, the experience this guy has gone through, like ridiculously cool businesses and companies and opportunities. Yet he said, when I apply for a job or send a resume out, they don't really look at it and they say, that's not possible that you've done these things, or how could you have done all these things?
And that's a problem. You've done so much cool stuff, nobody believes it.
Well, and the problem being, and that's reality, he didn't do it for himself. He's gained the experience, but he's been doing it for XYZ company. When XYZ company had a slowdown or a change in economy, okay, no longer needed here. Okay, now where do you go? Like to the next level company, still mining away in the background, doing next level things for somebody else's legacy, not for his own. So it's interesting how many paths we can go down and not realize, which is okay. Like Vijay, you hit the nail on the head, the fork in the road, right? There will be a fork in the road. And either you become one that, sometimes we don't sleep at night because we're self-funded.
Yes. Know that.
Yeah, I remember that.
So what could go wrong? Because mentally, if I'm working for a corporation, I have budgets and I have all this stuff that I forecast and we're always working towards something. But at the end of the day, every other Friday or whatever, I'm still getting paid, right? And it can be very healthy that way, a healthy paycheck. The problem is when I wake up in the morning, it's hard to be fueled up and say, I'm going to go get this. Yes, I'm just going to continue on because I'm still going to get paid. I might get laid off one day. Things might change. I can still submit a resume. The more, I've been in the entrepreneur life for quite a while now. So if I went to apply for a job, they'd probably laugh at me. They'd be like, that's a square peg through a round hole.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Man, yeah, it's so interesting that you talk about that you talk about the journey into entrepreneurship being the moment that your legacy can really like maybe your purpose is revealed. I think maybe that's a better way of looking at it, is that I was building my legacy before I knew what my purpose was. If that makes sense. Like, it's super weird. Like, when I look at my career, everything in my career led me to where I'm at today, but I had no idea. I had no clue that's where it was taking me. But it was that leap into entrepreneurship that really showed me that, like, yeah, this is who you are. This is what you can do. This is the impact you can have on the world if you choose to keep going down that path. And then it was just one step after the other up that mountain to get us to where we're at today. But I didn't know, let's call it 10 years ago, the things that I was doing at that time were going to lead me down this path that leads here. There's no way I could have put those together back then. Like, it's hard to believe at this point, even a couple of years later. Right? Yeah. You have no idea the incredible future that is probably right around the corner for you if you just choose to embrace it.
Yeah. No different than the fact we're on the Authentic Hustle podcast, right?
Yes.
Like 27 weeks ago, I didn't even know about this.
No, that's not true. You knew about 29 weeks ago.
Yeah. We put a lot of planning into it. There was 2 weeks of planning.
2025? I don't think I've said it like before. Like, no, I was not ready for Authentic Hustle at all. I never had it in the plan originally. Kelly, I'm not sure you had it. Like, I never had it.
I had it in like the idea stage, right? I knew that I wanted to do something like live, but I didn't know what that looked like. I had no idea it would be this, and this is so cool. I'm so happy it's this.
Yeah. So I mean, like, glad it all came together, and yeah, man, what a journey it has been. I mean, something I want to share about it. Like, I mean, we can keep talking for hours. That we three guys are like too bad. Like, something I spoke to an artist from Sherwood Park, like Giselle Dennis. She's an amazing artist, and I spoke to her, connected with her briefly. She told me, like, she has been an artist all her life. Right from her young age, she's been drawing for probably like 25, 30 years. Like, that's all she has been doing it. And she always wanted a studio because there are always 20, 30 people in her home. So she opened a studio in Sherwood Park and whatnot. Daniel Smith visited the studio recently, and I reshared that post. But like, the reason I share that is because, like, I think that's her purpose, because that's what she wanted to do. So just a shout out to Giselle. I think she's doing an amazing work. So, I mean, when you do what you love, I think there is joy in that.
Yeah.
None of any of, like, Kelly, you do the business development podcast. I mean, there's joy in that. Otherwise, you cannot keep doing 250, 300 episodes, right?
Yeah,
so if you don't have the joy in it, you cannot. So try and see where you find joy and start pursuing that. Yeah, playing safe, I don't think is the answer. I mean, one other thing. I mean, this is what I wanted to share. I did not share it. I think it's not the answers. Oh, I don't have all the answers. I've heard people say that, but I think it's not the answers. Are you asking the right questions? Because when you ask the right question, that will lead to an answer. You may not know the answer, but it may take like a year to find the answer. But try asking better questions. I think that's an open challenge for anybody.
I don't think anybody has the answers. I think that, like, maybe that's like the important thing is that, like, if you're sitting down and thinking that all these entrepreneurs have this like perfect 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plan on how they're going to achieve their success, it's bullshit. They don't. I'm sorry to my planners out there. Like, me and you both know your 3-year plans pretty much never come to fruition. Why? Because it's almost impossible to see what opportunities are going to come your way in the next year, let alone 3 years. I think entrepreneurship is so much more about being prepared to say yes to the opportunities that walk through your door that you never see coming. All this stuff we never really saw coming. Like, I could have never seen what the BDP would become. I would have never seen, like, it's in Christmas, that Authentic Hustle would be here and this would be what it is. Yeah. But I said yes in the moment. And it was the simple ability to say, I don't know what's coming, but I know it's going to be great. And when it comes, I'm going to say yes. That is true entrepreneurship. That is where the most success is going to come your way. Don't worry about having the best plan. None of us have it. Worry about being prepared and being in the right position to say yes. So much of it is just being at the right place at the right time and not denying it, saying yes instead.
100%. All right. Who's going to wrap it up?
I agree.
VJ, take us home. Me? Rapper? Rapper the rapper. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And as usual, somehow it gets deep real fast. And maybe it's the passion that we have, but that's the best part about it. That's the best part about Authentic. Funny thing about Authentic, since we started this, so 29 weeks ago, since I was, in the incubator, everywhere I go, I see the word authentic. like it's popping up, and the authenticity, and I try to listen to everything with that word in it, right? But it really hits home. And so for all the listeners out there, all 2 of you or 5 or 10 or whatever it may be, maybe it's just the 3 of us listening to ourselves. That's okay too. Just remember, be authentic. And as I met a new friend yesterday, be humble, right?
Yeah.
Be humble. That's very, very important. And you know what? Thanks for tuning in. AH Live, you can find us almost anywhere or nowhere. Depends how hard you're looking.
One day you'll find us everywhere. We're working on it.
And at the end of the day, we are 3 authentic hustlers, just loving what we do and creating a legacy for the future. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Later, hustlers.
See you, everybody. Bye-bye.